This is a special edition of RealCatholicTV.com's Daily News and Vortex, Progressives in the Catholic Faith.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. This week we're going to be focusing on the topic of progressives, what they are, and the enormous threat they are to the Catholic faith. But first, let's begin with an old proverb. There once was a scorpion and a frog sitting on a bank of the river. The scorpion needed to get across and asked the frog if he could climb on his back, and the frog would take him across. The frog at first refused and said, "If I do that, you will sting me, and I will die from drowning." The scorpion said he would not sting him because it would mean he, the scorpion, would die as well. So the frog consented and let the scorpion climb on his back. Halfway across the waters, the scorpion gave the frog a fatal sting, and they both began to drown. Before dying, the frog said to the scorpion, "Why did you do that? Now we're both going to die." The scorpion simply responded, "I'm sorry, but it's my nature." Nothing sums up the mind of the progressive more than this old proverb. Progressives are focused on change for its own sake, no matter the harm done to anyone or anything around them, including them. They are social terrorists, bent on destroying anything that stands in the way of what they determine to be progress, regardless of what is being progressed to. First off, not all progress is good. People progress to hell every day. Marriages progress to dissolution. People progress to self-destruction. But the progressive doesn't care about these things. Philosophically, what is important to the progressive, what his nature is to change from previous ways to different ways. If that means civilization has to come tumbling down and crush them in the process, so be it. We've seen the effects of their handiwork in every corner of society, from broken and shattered homes to children left to fend for themselves in a world of moral filth, and on and on. What began as a political and social movement to help end disgraceful living and working conditions that resulted from the Industrial Revolution soon converted to a cultural movement to sever any tie with the past with respect to morality. New so-called rights were invented, such as a right to privacy, which allows a mother the right to murder her own child, a right to sexual liaison with members of your own gender, and a host of other rights grounded in nothing except their own novelty. If it's new, it must be true. That seems the appropriate motto for their handiwork. This mindset began to invade the Catholic Church a generation after it started to decimate Protestant groups. Many Protestants, as a result, have long since thrown overboard any traditional understanding of sexual morality and its earlier basis in theology, and have thrown arms wide open to the sexual and cultural revolution which ensued. That same struggle is now in high gear in the Catholic Church. Progressives, who claim the title Catholic but have more in common with their Protestant and atheistic brothers and sisters than they do the Pope and the Magisterium, are busily trying to undo any vestige of Catholicism they can get their hands on. They traffic in the name Catholic, but are not Catholic in any meaningful sense of the word. To try and understand just how destructive they are to the faith, you need to understand that they are like theological suicide bombers. Their only care is destruction and destabilization. This is a tough mindset to try and comprehend, to wrap your brain around, because it's foreign to most people. The average Catholic sees or hears some new progressive idea wrapped in Catholic-sounding vocabulary and high-minded platitudes and thinks, well, that sounds logical. What they do not see or think about is the long-range consequence of such and such new theological idea. Ideas have consequences, period, and progressive ideas in the Catholic Church lead it to becoming weak and ineffective. When the Catholic Church is weak and ineffective, evil flourishes. If you ever want to know the condition of the church, simply look at the culture that church is in. If it is corrupt and destructive and immoral, then that means the church has failed a given generation. One brief look around tells you the depth of failure of the church in the last half of the 20th century and into the 21st. What has weakened the church is the presence of progressives and their insane ideas and the failure of too many in the hierarchy in tolerating them. When it comes to choosing between the faith and their progressive ideals, progressives will betray the church established by Christ every time. We saw this clearly in the recent war over health care. Like the scorpion, which brings its own life to an end by killing the frog, they almost can't help themselves. It's just their nature. I'm Michael Voris.
Please help us keep delivering these kinds of messages that so desperately need to be heard and acted on. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber. Become immersed in the faith established by Jesus Christ. The Catholic Church is the only hope against evil because that is its God-given mission. As our Lord said, apart from me, you can do nothing. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber and come to learn and love Christ more deeply.